I decided to do a Stormcast from my order list for the sort of like the Generals Handbook 2020 listing that Russ challenged us with, essentially. I wanted to do something that I knew, like if I was going to take it to a tournament, something that I actually knew inside out, really, but also wanted to take advantage of the fact that the points have dropped on stuff.
Quite a lot of stuff in that book.
Yeah, I could. I mean, if I was looking back at the standard, what we've always called the TM build, like essentially I could take the TM build and I get 140 points if I did that. So it's quite a significant drop. I wanted to change it up a little bit though, and so like I based it roughly on the build that I was taking predominantly, not last year, like the year before, the one that I compared at the Heat with. So it's essentially, there's no storm host or anything like that, and it's quite a high drop list. And also there's not really any sort of like how armies have like a lot of command point structure, like how they need those command points for special abilities. That really doesn't apply to this list because I've not the general's the STARDRAKE, and he's not got a command ability that affects anyone but himself, essentially, because it's reroll wounds for the dragons. But yeah, so the list is well, as you can see on the screen, it's a STARDRAKE with Staunch Defender and the Mirror Shield and Keen Clawed, which is sort of like the standard kind of build that you get on the STARDRAKE. So +1 armor save if he doesn't charge with an aura. Mirror Shield's minuses to shoot him, and Keen Clawed is any 6s do rend 3 on the dragon. I've got a Castellan, which is to buff the STARDRAKE again, which combos nicely with Staunch Defender if you've not seen it before. So STARDRAKE's a 3+ rerolling 1s. If he doesn't charge, he's a 2+ rerolling 1s. With the Castellan buff, he's a 1+ rerolling 1s. Now, obviously, you can't have a 1+ because a 1's always a fail, but it just mitigates like that rend. There's a Heraldor for run and charge. And this is why it changed up a little bit, because normally I put a Relictor in sort of like my old list, and I thought, well, I'll put the Knight Vexler in because it allows you to, whilst you've got run and charge with the Heraldor, the Vexler gives you a reroll charge ability, which is really good, which comes down to the unit types that we'll get to in a second. And I'll give him the Pennant of the Stormbringer, which is essentially the teleport banner that we used to see back in the early days of Age of Sigmar everywhere. I went for a Knight Incantor, just because he's such a utility piece as well with, the auto dispel, and he's also got some mortal wound output from when he smashes his vials in combat, and get the Stormcast law's quite good, so I'll give him Stormclaw, which is kind of like a mini Rain of Stars. Which is
also pretty survivable as far as wizards go. Wow. Like for the points, that guy's amazing.
Well, that's why I've got the Dias Arcanum as an endless spell, because one of the problems with this list is that it's not actually that maneuverable. Once it drops, or if it's on the table, you've not got much movement. So with the Dias Arcanum, it basically the Incantor gets a +1 armor save, so he's a 2+ save wizard then, and he can fly, gives him like a disc, so it's kind of cool, and gets, I believe it's an additional spell cast, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Standard battle line, 2 units Adjudicators and a Liberator unit, just because Adjudicators going down are really good. I know a lot of people out there don't rate them, but I've always found them consistency over the game. They just do a really, really, really good job.
That range never changes, like 29-inch threat range, isn't it?
29-inch threat range, yeah, all the time.
Just amazing.
It's. I think you could definitely, considering the damage threat that they've got compared to a unit of Liberators. I mean, I know you're paying, 50 points more, but I do think that they're worth those 50 points over the course of the battle. One of the things I always used to do if I was in the mirror match with Stormcast was take out the Adjudicators early on, because they're the things that chip away over the course of the game. Same as if when I was playing Sylvaneth, it would be like I'd take out the Tree Revenants, because they're the things that win the Sylvaneth player of the game back in the early days before the second book came out. I've then gone sort of like a unit of 10 Evocators. I was toying with putting Gavriel, the surcharge guy, in the list just to be able to make their charge more reliable. So they drop from the sky, 9-inch charge, spend command points, and increase that, the ability to charge things +3. But I thought about it and I was just like, I actually think that even though that's probably a little bit more competitive, I wanted the Evocators in this because I see them performing the role that the Fulminators used to perform in my old list. So the dragon obviously is quite hard to kill, very resilient. He is sort of like my anvil that moves, and then the Evocators would be the hammer. So this dragon goes in, pins a unit, and then the Evocators will drop from the sky, hopefully in range of the Vexler banner. So 9 with a reroll makes them quite reliable. it's not ideal. It's still probably 50-50-ish. And the dragon pins them in place. Hopefully then at that point, if they do fail the charge, then it's not that big a deal because the dragon's going to stay there and hold them. And then I've got the pennant if I need to redeploy them or the dragon, because it just picks a unit and just teleports it anywhere you like on the table. So I can redeploy the evocators once they're down if I need to. And I then included, these were initially celestial ballistas, but like a friend suggested when I was talking about it, Martin Moran suggested that Shadow Warriors provide a much a sort of like a similar role but different. So obviously it's bodies on the table, they're more flexible, it's consistent shooting, and that pop-up ability again that because everything they've got on their war scrolls brilliant. It allows me to be a little bit more flexible, I thought. It's overall I think it'll be like 4 out of 5 wins maybe, unless I can run into. It's still going to fall foul of the always strike first armies, and anything with massive amounts of armor saves. It'd be interesting to see how it would fare against OBR and stuff, because they've got really good armor save. The dragon's got really good armor save.
Should do really well against OBR, because they don't, particularly with Petrifex being less prevalent, you won't see the command ability for Rend, because people might move to more as Praetorian or Static Lords, and I think don't underestimate how good evocators are against OBR, Mortec Guard. They just absolutely destroy them. So
plus the shooting as well, with the just the constant shooting, you're not re-rolling that save in the shooting phase, are you? Especially with the changes to Petrifex. I mean, like you said, I don't see people taking that going forward, maybe.
I think you'll still see it. Yeah. You'll still see it.
Yeah, Crematorium. Sorry, Russ. I think Crematorium's more of a, or whatever it's called, is more of an issue if you're facing that, because then when your things die on a 5+, they do a mortal wound, and that's one of the weaknesses. I mean, the Stardrake's got no mortal wound protection.
No mortal wound protection. It never. So even when I played it before, it never really had any mortal wound protection. When I used to run the, I can't remember the
Ignax's Scales.
Yeah.
No, I never used to take Ignax. It was what was the Ram Beast one? The one where it banks his wounds back on an unmodified arm. So
the Pellet.
Yeah, the
Shardfist.
Yeah, that's it. Shardfist Pound.
Yeah.
But yeah, I figured that out there at the moment, I don't know how it would fare against certain things. I was thinking about what I would expect to see. Tzeentch, if they're still about, is going to be a lot of shooting. The -2 to hit on the dragon's going to make it hard. There's not a lot of Rend. It's, and also I've played the list a lot in this semi sort of guise, so I think I'd be okay with it.
You've got a lot of off-table drops as well. I mean, your entire army can go, your Stormcast, every other unit can go off the table, and then you've got 2 units of Shadow Warriors to add to that, which is really good. I think the other thing they add is that with list, you've got multiple sources of very flexible, far-range specific shooting. So you've got Rain of Stars, you got a spell that is like Rain of Stars, from what I recall.
Yeah.
Then you've got a couple units of Adjudicators, just solid. And then adding the Shadow Warriors to that really makes a big difference, because if you can drop them into Rain, where they've got the ability to choose something else, although you don't have to, you get +1 to wound and +1 to hit. But what that gets around is Lookout Sir really nicely. So let's say you've damaged something, there's something you really need to kill. He's given a buff to a unit, or he's a utility piece or whatever. You can do a couple of wounds with this thing. If that doesn't work, try and do a couple of wounds with this thing. That's just in your hero phase. Shoot him with 1 unit Adjudicators. Okay, 1 wound left. I'm going to shoot 3 of the Shadow Warriors at him. He's dead now. We're good. It just allows you to exactly allocate enough wounds without too much, without too little, and pick apart your opponent's army before you then go in, and the Evocators are just mega at that. They're also they're quite a threat. You've not put a realm down. Did you consider that?
No, because obviously with the new realm rules and stuff, it didn't really make sense. And I figured that all of the tools that I need, personally, I think are in the Stormcast book. I mean, I think the list shreds infantry. Like if you've got, one of the things that a lot of people forget about with the Stardrake is that whilst Rain of Stars is mostly your go-to, Rolling Thunderhead is also really, really good against it, like massed horde infantry, because it's like roll a dice for each model in the unit, and on 6 it takes a mortal wound. So it's that plus the evocators plus the continual shooting. And the dragon's quite good at fighting hordes.
Because did evocators go up, or did they stay the same? Because the retributors come down, didn't they?
Retributors come down. I was really tempted with retributors because they perform a very similar role. But I think
I guess you don't get much for the 40 points, do you?
No, I could have taken Endless Spell. I was tempted. I tried to see whether I could get Emerald Life Swarm because, again, without the Relictor in the list, the Life Swarm then would heal the dragon because, you've not got the extra D3 heal from the Relictor's healing lightning.
I think that's the only thing that I kind of would want is the Relictor because it gives you another way to move a unit around as well, doesn't it?
Translocation, yeah. That was the it was that or the Incantor, in my opinion. I mean, I think the games that I need that auto dispel.
I think the Incantor's a better choice, but you'd want both really. But you can't.
Yeah. If I could fit them all, I want a Castellan, a Herald, or a Vexler. I want 6 heroes.
You could drop a unit of Shadow Warriors and have points for it.
5 heroes, isn't it? I think there was a cap on 6. Cap on 5 heroes.
6
heroes.
Is it
6, is it?
Yeah.
So I could drop it, and it's not a bad check. Could do that. I think I'm strong in.
Having 2 units of Shadow Warriors is good though, because it means
it's a lot better than 1.
You can put 1 down to cause harassment and keep the other one back. Do they have to go at the first turn? I don't remember what their rules are.
No, they're just completely flexible. Yeah. They die to anything in the game.
They die to more tech crawlers in combat, so yeah. When I played Levo, we put them into my more tech crawlers, but the problem is I had them spread out enough, so as soon as one was free, it could shoot them off the other one. So, but
I think it just adds flexibility. That was the whole point of it. Is that it's 20 bodies that a Stormcast army rarely has.
Yeah, I think it's a good choice. Yeah,
so double the normal bodies in the Stormcast army.
Yeah.
How do realms work? Because I'm not familiar with this. What's changed with them?
You just get a artifact. So the spells, it depends what realm you're fighting in, is what you would get access to spell wise. So it would be randomized.
So if you're in Beast, you don't get Wild Form.
You would if you were fighting in Beast, but not if your army's from Beasts. It's like before, like the game is played in a realm, and that gives everyone access to the spell and the command ability. But the artifact is the only thing that is dictated on your army list from the realm. So unless you're taking one of those artifacts, you just don't need to state a realm.
I was going to say, because Wild Form goes in that list just so well. Stormcast benefit from it pretty much more than any other army in the game, because you get +2 to your run and charge, and with a Heraldor being in most lists, what it unlocks for a STARDRAKE or for evocators is kind of interesting, because you can run, make it a 6. That was a however many inches, and then charge it +2 as well.
Yeah, with a reroll if they're in range of the Vexler.
Yeah, exactly.
So is there any missions that you'd be worried about? I mean, it's quite a flexible army, so I guess not really.
I think there's missions that it's better at than others. I think it all depends what's in front of you, essentially. I think it'd be good in hero missions. I think it dependent on what you play against. I don't think it wants to play anything with a huge amount of bodies that put out loads of damage. I think maybe like...
Don't face eels, do you?
Eels, eels are going to make it hard. You'd have to play out your skin. I think the Clan Pestilence lists, like the Skaven list with loads of Plague Monks, even with the changes to the Plague Monks that we saw, I still think that they would just get through, even though, because you're paying a premium in points for abilities on your units and the armor save, but when you're having to make that many saves, you're just going to fail, I think. So I think it'd be difficult. I think it could compete in most of the scenarios. I think it would just depend on what you're playing. Certain things make it easier than others. I do think they're a little bit behind the curve at the moment, but having the extra points allows them to allows them to compete, I think.
Okay, cool.
Sweet. I really like it.
Well, I think we're basically done then with your list, and we can move on.
Yeah, I think so.